This meeting is being recorded.
What's going on, y'all? This your boy, Chris. I'm coming to you with another podcast episode. And as always, I'm with my partner in crime all the way from Puerto Rico. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Miss Sandra Cruz. What's going on with you, girl? How you doing?
Hey Chris, how are you? I'm doing good. Besides like a little bit of stiffness in my neck, I'm okay. I didn't sleep too. I guess I must have not slept with my head in the right direction last night, but I'm doing good. Can't complain.
What you need to try, you need to try some yoga. I think we gotta get you aligned. I think yoga might be the solution for you.
It
Or
might.
you might need to get another mattress or a better pillow. I don't know.
I don't know. I got a pretty good mattress. I got one of those foam mattresses that are really good, but I think it's just because I was sleeping kind of tilted last night and stayed there for a while. But I think it's the pillow. I'm gonna agree with all three. I need a better mattress, chiropractor, some yoga, and a better pillow. It's four.
But no, I feel you on that, man. Like it's not good. I've had that happen to me before. It's like where you can barely turn your neck, but yeah, just you just gotta be careful how you sleep. Like usually, like I like to take my blanket and put it over my neck. That way, like my neck is not like in all different types of directions when I'm sleeping. So that might
Yeah.
help because I don't have a neck thing. Like I don't have like one of those neck things that people have when they go on airplanes. Like I don't have one of
Oh,
those. Yeah. So I just use my blanket honestly, and it works for the time being. But yeah. But anyway, man, I was glad to be back on the mic. Had a pretty busy weekend. I know it was Easter weekend. Those of you who celebrate Easter. Those of you who celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. I know it was a pretty big weekend. Um, I know that people try to usually make that holiday like that. That's a holiday that always like is never like consistent. Like it's either sometimes it's in March, sometimes it's in April. So that holiday is really never consistent, but it always falls around March or April. But this year it was in April. But yeah, I know Easter weekend was just had passed, and I did a lot that weekend. So Saturday I actually went down to Columbus, Ohio. So I went down to Columbus to see my family who I haven't seen in a while. So we got to meet up in Columbus, got to get some lunch at this nice place down there in Polaris. And then we walked around the mall a little bit. So that was cool. And then when they left, I hit one of my boys up, one of my childhood friends up who was in the area. I hit him up, wanted to see what he's doing. And I got to be a part of his confirmation. So he was getting confirmed in the Catholic Church over the weekend. So I pulled up, I went to his service. The service was 2.5 hours long. That service was really long, man. And the Catholic Church, they do a little things differently than the Christian church. So it was a different experience. I've heard like people joke about how Catholics, when you're part of the Catholic Church, everything is just so robotic. It's like stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. I've heard comedians talk about it, and they ain't lying. That's all we did. We stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. It's a whole workout. So if you ever go to the Catholic Church, man, be prepared. Be prepared to be on your feet because that's how it was. Stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. So that's what it was like. But nonetheless, I just came to support my dude, man. Because I remember him back in the day when we used to hang out. We used to we go all the way back to fifth grade. We was fifth grade childhood friends, man. I remember like going through high school, he started getting caught up in some things, man, and his life was going down a scary path, and he ended up having to go to the hospital, man, and that's when his hospital experience turned his life around. That's when he started getting into the faith, started really asking me questions about God and everything like that. So, to me, it was just a proud moment to see like how his life has made a 180. You know what I'm saying? So it was just great to see him doing great things with his life and really doing some positive things. So that's really why I had to go out there and support him. So I stayed there. Stayed at his house. Got to try some Indian food for the first time because he is Indian. So he brought some Indian food, after the service. At first, I was a little skeptical because I didn't know what to expect. Cause I never had Indian food before. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, I can feel my stomach turn. I'm like, bro, I don't
No,
know, man. This might tear out my stomach. But he's like, yo, you gonna like it, man. Just try it. So I
it's
tried
good.
it, and it was, you know what? It was actually good. It was actually good. So, you know, they use a lot of spices in their food. You know, they use a lot of spices in their food, so it's spicy, but it's good though. Like, you know, you got the rice, has some chicken, has some lamb. It was the bomb. So, you know, I really enjoyed it. And then Sunday, you know, I had to go back up to uh, Kent. So I went back up to Kent on Sunday, but I had to make a stop in Akron because my friend texted me Saturday night and was like, yo, like, you coming to church? Like, I'm preaching. So I'm like, yo, I got to support my friend too. I got to support my friend up in Kent. So I drove back from Columbus to Akron, went to the Sunday service, went to the Easter service, and, you know, it was great, man. So I've been on the move, man. But now I'm back here, and, you know, I'm ready to deliver a fire episode with my girl Sandra. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Oh wait, of course, like I said, how was your weekend?
My weekend, it was all right. I can't complain. I kind of just hung out here on Friday night. Saturday night, I went out for a little bit. Went to go eat. Nothing pretty major. And then Sunday, I went to the beach, which I love the beach here. It was nice, but it was kind of like an overcast, but the wind was ridiculous. So the sand was really annoying, like to the point where it would like hit you in the face and your eyes. But it was good for kite surfers. Um, I got a little bit of red on my nose and on my chest, but of course I put some sunblock and stuff on. But we were there for a majority of the time. Then left, went to go eat, and let me tell you, I was trying to work on my workshop that I'm about to launch soon. Yay! But I fell asleep. I fell asleep. I was so exhausted that by 8:30 I was knocked out. So that was pretty much my weekend. And well, Monday, you already know, work, 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 work. So that's about it.
Hey, at least you got to, you know, enjoy your weekend. You know, at least you got to be out in the sun. I wish I could say the same thing. I wish I could be by a beach, but we don't have beaches up here, and it's not warm up here at all. Like, it was actually pretty cold. Well, Saturday was nice. Saturday was like in the 50s, but then Sunday was like in the low 40s, and today it's actually snowing again. But it's
Oh
not.
no.
But it's not
For
sticking though. Yeah, it's actually snowing. Like, it's actually snowing, but it's not like it's not sticking though. It's not sticking, like, because the ground
Yeah.
is too warm. But it's just like, you know, it's got like some snowflakes coming down. But I heard this
And
weekend is supposed to be. I heard this weekend is supposed to be in the 80s, so we might go outside. Yeah, this weather's weird up here. It's not. It's not like Puerto Rico where it's consistent. It's like it's weird. Like, it can be cold one day and it can get hot another day. So it's really weird.
yeah.
So.
Well, we're about to enter into hurricane season, so this is gonna be interesting.
Man.
Pray for me.
Brace yourself. Brace yourself.
Huh?
Brace yourself.
Uh,
Yeah.
I gotta find where to go because my apartment's not habitable if there's a hurricane. But hopefully we won't get one. When before Maria, I had lived here already for like what 6 years, 7 years, maybe. Like, no, it was maybe 8, and we hadn't had one. So I'm hoping that we have the same kind of reoccurrence where it's a lot of time before it happens. We need a break.
Honestly, but I've never experienced one. But I heard mixed things. I heard people, you know, look forward to hurricane season. Some people don't like it. But
It's crazy because you don't know what's gonna happen. And you've got to board up the house. You've got to, I mean, you accept it. It's a natural disaster. There's nothing you can do unless, especially us that live here, because we got to take a flight out. But I mean, it's not like I live in the States and I can just go from one state to the next and stay somewhere else. But still, you got to board up your house because it could be disastrous for everything you own. So, and then, the aftermath of it is cleaning it up, the money that's spent once you get into the politics of it, people who lose everything. So it's something that is just unexpected. I mean, thank God last time my uncle was very prepared. And so nothing happened to us, but there was a lot of damage all around us. So, it's one of those things where you got to pray.
heard from one of my friends who lives in Florida. He said that hurricane season, it tends to bring people together. Is that true?
It does. It does bring people together. And I think that all of us, the way it happened here was so moving, just because we were willing to help our neighbor. Neighbor, hey, I got some water. Hey, hey, you need some oil. I got some oil, because the lines are really long. And see, what ended up happening was that once the electricity was gone, the whole grid was off. So that means that the whole entire power system in Puerto Rico was not pumping, which means it won't pump the gas, which means no water. It doesn't pump your water. So a lot of people had to collect water from the rain that was reoccurring. We had two big drones, and that's what you would that's what you would take a shower with, basically. Um, the electricity was being restored, but then diesel was, because it wasn't pumping underground. Gas and oil was really hard to come by. So that was another thing. We don't really use oil here too much. It's just gas, but you need that to pump your generators. So if you don't have the gas for your generator, you got no electricity, which means no water. So it was like one affected the other. So everybody really, when there was no electricity, we just gathered at night and talked, and you talked with your neighbors, or you played dominoes. You did something, because what were you gonna do? And then, if you had a generator, you put the generator on for a couple hours so everybody could take a shower, everybody could eat, and then that generator goes back off until you go to sleep so that you can have some AC, because it tends to get really hot after a hurricane, like extremely hot. So everybody was helping, and that I was most grateful for. I met some really beautiful people during the hurricane season. So yes, I'm grateful for that.
That's good, man. I mean, in times like that, I mean, that's where you got to really lean on each other. That's what, I was talking about 2 episodes ago about us coming together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really what makes the world go round for real. It's like having us come together as a community, and I think that is a great example of where, when times get tough, that's where we got to lean on each other. That song Lean on Me by Bill. What is it, Bill Withers? Is that the guy that sings it? Is that the brother? I know it's a brother who sings it. But I know that song Lean on Me when you're not strong.
Oh, yeah. I don't know who sings it. I forgot who sings it, but yes, that's a classic.
Exactly.
When I'm gonna need
Yeah.
somebody to. Yeah, that was more like a hip hop version, I think, like when I was growing up. I don't know if they took it or that was the original, but I remember that song.
Yeah, the original version is what you were singing. Yeah, that's the original version. I never heard no hip hop version. There's a hip hop version. That's like a remastered version.
Yeah, it was kind of like popish hip hop. It was 80s, but yeah, in a time of need, it's definitely agreed, and that's what happened here. And so a lot of the reports, a lot of people were saying a lot of things, negative and positive, but we didn't have anybody else to lean on. I mean, except the U.S. of A. Because, well, who's gonna come here? And so unless a ship was coming in to bring a cargo, the captain has to be American. So that took a long time too, because the Jones Act. So it was a lot. It was a lot on the political side, but seeing how you could lean on somebody was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I had some friends who needed to go into shelter, and it was crazy because they lost everything, like their whole entire house. So you got to count your blessings.
Hopefully, that doesn't happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen, and continue to hope that city of the island of Puerto Rico is gonna be all right, because I know y'all got hit with something in 2018. I think I honestly don't remember what it was, but I just remember seeing it. But it was crazy what y'all went through, and hopefully y'all are able to stay safe out there for real. Now we're gonna go ahead and get to the podcast. I know it's a long conversation, but we're gonna get into the podcast for real. We're gonna go ahead and get into the topic for today. Now, like I said, I always love to start off with, like a little observation that, I tend to notice. And one thing that I noticed is, since, they declared yesterday as Easter as a holiday, it's always interesting, like even around like other holidays, such as Christmas, New Year's, just those big holidays, man. It always seems like, it's always interesting to me how people tend to show up to more things. For example, like Easter yesterday, I'm sure there was a lot of people in attendance at church that you probably haven't seen in a while. So it's just interesting how like Easter, Christmas, New Year's, these holidays, people tend to show up to things like church. You see more people out shopping, right? So it's just so crazy how you see a lot more people out and a lot of people out showing up to more things than you're used to, because it was like a regular day like today, like Monday, right? And you go to the store, it's probably not going to be as packed as if you were to go over Easter weekend, or if you go over Christmas, or if you went to church like next Sunday, where there's really no holiday next Sunday, you will probably see that there's probably not going to be that many people at your church the next time you go. And so I wanted to point that out because I noticed how, because I wanted to relate it back to how we do to some of our dreams and some of our goals. Is sometimes, we go after our dreams and goals, we don't show up enough times. So we show up whenever we feel like it. Just like people who show up to church around holidays, they show up because they feel like the time is right. They feel like, oh, now is the time where I need to start getting into good habits. Now is the time where I need to start showing up, right? And sometimes that's how we feel like we can go with our dreams and expect big results. First of all, don't expect your dreams to progress if you only show up for them once. Let me say it again. Don't expect your dreams to progress if you only show up for them once. So you can't expect, for example, to lose weight if you only go to the gym one time out the year. That's not how it works. Just because you put in a hard workout for one time out the year does not mean that all of a sudden you're going to lose however much weight you want to lose. No, you got to keep showing up. You got to keep showing up and being consistent in whatever it is you want to do. You can't just expect you to be good at a sport if you only practice one time. You can't just show up one time and then expect to be like LeBron James. Like, no, that's not gonna work. You get fooled by that because you see LeBron James, dunking, shooting the basketball. You see him doing all these great things, but yet again, you don't know how many hours he's putting into that sport to perfect his craft. See, a lot of us don't want to go through the process. We just want the instant success, which is not how it works. And whatever you want to do, you got to keep showing up. You got to keep being consistent, right? Consistency is the key to achieving your dream. You got to be consistent in whatever it is you decide to do. And that starts with waking up every day, having a plan for what you want to do, and going on executing it. And you got to continue to keep showing up, even on days that maybe the time is not right. Let's say you want to run a marathon, right? And you want to train, and you saw how beautiful it was outside, and you're like, okay, this is a great day for me to train. It's not hot, it's not cold, it's not raining, it's sunny outside. So I feel like this is a great day to go out and train. But what happens if it's hot? What happens if you got to run the marathon when it's hot outside, when it's raining outside? You know what I'm saying? So you can't expect every day to be perfect, because that's not how it works. Some people only show up to things when everything is perfect, but not everything is going to align the way you want it to align. So how do you do that? You got to show up even when you don't feel like it, even on your roughest days. Even if somebody decide to cuss you out, or somebody decide to make you feel some type of way, you still got to go out and achieve your dreams. Why? Because you are the only person that can control how you feel. So if you claim that somebody made you mad, somebody made you sad, and somebody made you not want to do something, that's on you, because you're the only person that can control how you feel. So if you're not showing up for yourself, that's on you, because you made that choice. You know what I'm saying? We all have a choice to decide what we're going to do with our day, what we're going to do with our time. So you can't blame nobody else because you didn't achieve what you set out to achieve. You only got yourself to blame because you didn't put in the right preparation. You didn't keep putting in the work. You didn't want to see it all the way through. You tried it for like 7 days. You tried, running that. You tried training for that marathon for 7 days. You only tried writing that book for 7 days. You only tried working out for like 7 days, and you didn't see results right away. So you decided, you know what? It's not worth it anymore. I'm just gonna quit. But you cannot do that if you expect to progress in your dreams. See, it's one thing to fall forward, but it's one thing to stop. See, you can try, you can fail. As long as you fail forward, you're making more progress than somebody that decided to quit. So just keep that in mind because you're doing more than a person who's not doing anything. Just keep that in mind. It's like when you're trying to make a basket and you keep shooting, you're gonna have a better chance of it going in versus somebody who just stands there and holds the ball. Sometimes
Absolutely.
that's what we do with our dreams. We stand there, we hold the ball, and we're afraid to take a shot. Why? Because we're afraid to miss. But again, the famous quote says, "You miss 100% of shots you don't take."
Yep.
So you hold the ball. If you stand there and hold the ball and you don't shoot the ball, it's not gonna go in either way. But if you shoot the ball, you already have a higher chance of it going in. So you might
Yep.
as well go ahead and shoot your shot when it comes to your dream. You might as well keep showing up, keep shooting, because something might fall. But it only
You know,
takes. Oh, go ahead.
no. It's true what you're saying, and I wanted to add to that. Like when I was taking like my coaching course, the first thing they said is you got to show up. And I love how you said, well, you got to show up no matter what your day's like. There are days where I wake up and it's a battle when you're trying to run your own business, when you're trying to create and do new things. It's a battle. There are challenges. And either A, you want to show up and you want to be in those challenges, or you want to be the one holding the ball, thinking to yourself, okay, well, I wish this would work. I wish. Well, what are you doing? What's the activity that you're creating to get you there? Are you doing this intentionally? Are you waking up in the morning and saying to yourself, I'm going to be intentional today because I want to get from here to this? A lot of times people don't. They say, oh, yeah. I want to own my own business. But how are you going to own your own business? Let's say, some people say, oh, well, I want to own my own business and like selling car parts. But yet they're steady working a 9 to 5 in some corporate world and not moving to work towards what they want to do. Or they'll start it, and if it gets too rough or it gets too hard, oh, it was too much. It wasn't. Life is like a puzzle. You got to find the pieces that match, or the pieces that fit in to whatever it is that you're doing, and that's how you can get through whatever it is, whatever challenge. But if you don't start, you always going to be that person standing there with the ball, and you're going to miss your chance.
Yes. You know, go for it, man. And really, there's no perfect time than now. Because last week I talked about maxing out your time, and if you haven't seen that episode, go check that out, man. Because, like I said, like I throw a lot of good nuggets in there, so definitely go check that episode out. But again, there's really no perfect time to shoot, but now, because the more you wait, the more the less time you got. So the more you continue to wait, the more time is going to keep going because time don't stop for nobody.
Nope.
So you might as well just go ahead and do it now. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you hesitating for? Right? Like, what do you have to lose? I mean, the only thing that, is stopping you is you. So again, if you have something that you really want to do, go on, do it. Don't be worried about what other people think of that. The only reason that some people may criticize you for doing it is because they may have never done it themselves, so they don't think it's possible, or they may have seen you in your past and may have thought that you were this person in the past, but you may have changed since then. People go through changes all the time. You don't have to live up to somebody's standard. You got your own standard.
I think that's where the lies the problem, though. There's been a standard set by society, or I want to say society, where failure, that word, it has such a negative connotation. Like everybody says failure, and you're like, oh my God. I know when I got out of college, I was scared. I was like, what do I do? Where do I go? Like, I'm afraid that I'll fail. And you know what? I would look for things that would intentionally tell me you failed. Like, oh, you didn't get the job. You had the job interview, but you didn't get the job. And then I would say to myself, see, you're a failure. But who has us thinking that? Like, why do we have to think that necessarily failure? Failure is a sign of its success. Because like you said, you shot your shot. Doesn't mean that that's for you, but you tried it and now you know, or maybe it's for you and you just have to do it a different way. I mean, take for instance this journey that I'm on, and I became a transformational coach. I didn't start with like 1,000 clients. I still don't have, let's put it, I'm gonna be raw with you. I still don't, but I'm creating and I still show up. I'm consistent and I'm persistent because it takes time. Not everything is a golden nugget the first time you touch it. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication. But in order to have that hard work and dedication, you have to decide that you want to do that first. You have to get intentional with what is it that you want to do. Because if you don't know what you want to do, you're never going to start it. You're going to be confused all the time. So it takes time to sit and think, okay, I want to do this. And actually, I met somebody the other day who said to me, oh, I love what you're doing. I see what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, thank you. And he said, I vote. He's a professor who is becoming a medical doctor. It's crazy. So much knowledge up in there. And he says, well, I don't know. Like I've been wanting to do a podcast for a while, but I'm just not sure. And I said, what are you not sure about? If you want to do it, just start it. No, I just want to get my seasons written. So again, here we have this idea of perfectionism with failure. So if we're not perfect, we can't do it. And failure just shows us what people think failure is, just proves to us that we were not perfect. And I think people fear that. I think some people really, really fear that. And that's not so. Failure is a sign of success.
Failure is one of those teachers, man, because in order to be right, you have to be wrong. It's like riding a bike. You know, when you ride a bike, you take the training wheels off, you ain't gonna be no expert. I remember when I first took the training wheels off. Man, I remember when I was a kid, man, my dad had me ride down the sidewalk at our old house. I remember I just kept falling off that bike. He was like, get up, get up. He was like, come on, come on. And he'd just be standing there. He'd be walking with me, trying to, guide me to ride the bike. I just kept falling off. I think at the end of that night, I had like 50 scratches on my leg. You know what I'm saying? Just from falling, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it was uncomfortable. It was scary because, the training wheels are there on the bike to help guide, the person riding the bike. It's kind of like an assistance, but you can't keep those on forever. You got, at least you got to figure out how to take them off. So again, a lot of us, we keep riding with the training wheels on and we're scared to take them off. And what those represent, and once you take those training wheels off, that means like you out there now. Like, it's just you now. And now you got to, really figure out, okay, how are you going to be able to execute on your plan? It's like taking a jump. It's like taking a jump. Once you jump, you got to be able to land. But I would lie to you and say that if you're going to, once you take a jump, you're going to land on your feet. You're going to fall. You're going to hit some rocks. You're going to get scraped up. You're going to get bruised. You're going to get all that, man. Depending on how big your dream wants to be. Be it again, you just got to keep back. You got to get up and keep moving. You got to try it again. Just like when I talked about, riding my bike when I was a kid. The only reason I was able to ride my bike was because I kept falling down. Yet again, over time, I kept getting better. I figured out how to balance it. And that's what we got to do sometimes. We can't always ride with the training wheels on. If you've been looking to start something, when you talked about your friend trying to start a podcast, I was the same way when I first started trying to get into podcasting. I was, a little hesitant to put my voice out there. If you go back to like my first few episodes, I'm gonna tell you something. You can see the growth. Because really, I decided, when I first started getting the podcast, I'm like, I'm just gonna put something out here. Sometimes like people wait for it to be like so perfect just to release something. But why are you trying to make it so perfect? That person who's putting out stuff, even though it's not perfect, they still getting ahead of you because they still getting that exposure earlier than you. So again, don't hesitate to just go out here and do it. You know, it don't have to be perfect, but you just got to be able to produce. You just got to be able to produce. Sometimes you can't let yourself get into this state of mind to where it's like, oh, it's got to be perfect. First of all, there's no such thing as perfect.
Right.
Perfect means perspective. That's the definition. Perfect means perspective. And what do I mean by that? See, when you think something's perfect, right, that's from your perspective. So you may think, oh, okay, that girl over there, that dude over there, he's perfect. But to somebody else, they may be like, no, I don't like that. You know, I think this guy over here is perfect. So perfect, when we talk about perfect, everything's perspective. You know what I'm saying? There's really no such thing as like ideal perfect. It's only perfect to you. So what you may think is perfect, somebody else may not think is perfect at all.
Right.
So you can't be trying to chase perfection. You just got to chase progress.
Exactly. I love how you come up with those one-liners, but that was a good one.
Exactly. I just come with them on the fly for real. I'm just good at that.
It's true though, because when I started my coaching business, our coaches said to us, one of my coaches used to say to me all the time, like, hey, listen, it doesn't matter. Just put the content out there because there's going to be someone who's going to find value in what you say. Some people may not like your program, and those are the ones that are not for your program. But there's going to be people who are going to love your program, who are going to show up, who are going to support you. And that's the crowd that you want to cater to. So in other words, she was saying just the same thing that you're saying, you know, like there's nothing perfect. No one's perfect. And if somebody doesn't want to listen to what you have to say, then that means that that's not the crowd for you. That person is either not where you're at, or plain and simple just doesn't like what you have to say, but maybe will like someone else. And so it's not about being perfect. It should never be about being perfect. It should be about putting it out there, finding value and content in what you do. But that fear is what people fear. You know, when I did my first live, maybe like one person showed up. It's okay. I don't mind. But that one person got some good stuff out of it, because when I saw them at the beach like 3 days ago, they were like, oh my God, I watched your live. It was really good. I was like, whoa, I never thought that person would be watching my live. So that for me was a sign of success, not failure, because that's one person that I got to see my live. And I was happy with that.
See, I think what scares us about chasing our dreams is people. I think like if we post a video about us, you know, maybe trying to promote positivity, whether it's trying to promote your clothing brand, you know, trying to promote your book, trying to promote your speaking, you know, in your case, you know, your mindset coaching, you know, whatever it is, you know, nowadays we live in a world to where people all on Instagram promoting different stuff, like promoting the recipes. I mean, it's a plunder of things that people, you know, try to promote. But I think what scares us is, again, trying to go after the perfection, trying to appease, you know, all these people that at the end of the day, there's still going to be some people that are still not going to like what you put out here. You may think you have the best recipe that you've ever came up with, and you may think to yourself, man, everybody's going to love it. Well, let me brush your bubble. Not everybody going to like it. You could make it, it can look so good, you know, it can be fall off the bone, but again, somebody's still not going to like it. So again, I think what scares us is when we have that one person that speaks down upon whatever we're trying to put out here. And that's when we're like, man, you know, I didn't like what that person said. You know, I'm just not going to do it again. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us, we feel insecure based off what one person says, one negative comment. Let me tell you something. If you got that going on, if you got some haters in your comments, you got some haters in your feed, guess what? That should already tell you that you going somewhere, because you got their attention. If you got haters in your feed, you got the attention of people.
Yeah. And you know what? Usually when there's a hater, that means that person is insecure and they found something that they actually like in you and wish they had, but they don't. So instead of going forward, maybe asking the question of how can I get to where you're at, or how can I have the spirit you have, or whatever it is that that they saw, they will criticize because it's a form of protection. Just the same way, like you said 2 minutes ago, you know, if you go forward, you're not going to think about those things because you're intentionally going forward. But when you start thinking about them, our body, our mind is so protective of what happens that what we tend to say is, oh, we've got a hater. So instead of just being like, oh, okay, well, oh, we've got haters, 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 and our mind says it over and over, or I didn't do a good job. There was only one person in my life. I didn't do a good job. I didn't do a good job. I didn't do a good. So what they do is they replay it in their mind because that's the body trying to protect them from doing something that they're not used to. How do you break free from that? You know what I'm saying? Because that's exactly what you got to break free of in order to go forward. Because if not, you're going to be sitting there, like you said, holding the ball.
Yeah, man. You gotta realize is, again, like not everybody's gonna like what you do, but it's not about trying to appease everybody. It's only trying to appease like a certain group. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna have a certain target audience that's going to really gravitate you to your stuff. So instead of trying to get the attention of everybody, get the attention of people that are really going to support what you do and really keep those people close. Because if you try to, try to make everybody like you, you're gonna wear yourself out. Because you're gonna have to keep switching out your mask. Because again, not everybody gonna, vibe what you're doing. But once you get those group of people that really support you, those are the people you got to target. Because those are the people that's going to really support you, really uplift you. And so instead of trying to be one and done, instead of just putting something out here, and seeing like, oh, these people don't really vibe with it, find the people that do. Because again, it's like there's somebody out here who's willing to listen to what you got, who's willing to watch and really to support what you're trying to do. But if you give up right away, you'll never be able to see that. If I would have gave up on this podcast, I would have never met some of the connections that I had, if I just stopped. And there was a point where I did stop. There was a point, where I took what I call a 3-month break. I didn't post an episode in 3 months. And because I was losing faith. But when I got back on it, I realized when I started becoming more active, I was like, man, like this is actually impacting somebody. Like this is actually getting out here, and then I'm actually being able to see people really gravitate toward it. But I would have never been at this point in my podcasting journey if I gave up. So again, it's all about staying consistent and staying disciplined, and knowing that there are people out here who are going to really support you, and that you're not just doing this for no reason. You're doing this for a purpose. So until you find that purpose, that's when it's really going to take off for you. So again, find that purpose in whatever it is you want to do, and stick with it. Don't give up on it. Don't ever give up on it. Don't ever give up on your dreams. Don't ever give up on trying to go after whatever it is you want to go after, because it's your life. And so you got to take it by the hand, and you got to take control of it. So.
No, most definitely. I think that that's persistency and consistency is what I learned throughout my coaching career. Nothing's ever perfect. Like my lives aren't perfect. I'm not looking to wear makeup. I'm not looking to be the star. I'm looking to create value and content, and that somebody will say, wow, she knows what she's talking about. I want to work with her. But if I would have given up just like you, I wouldn't have met half the people that I've met. I never would have even been on a podcast. So there you go. And it's one of the things that I had on my list of things that I wanted to do. And it's crazy because I put myself out there. So when you put yourself out there, you open yourself up to a world of opportunities. You really do. But like you said, it's up to you. And until you find your purpose and what you want to do, you can be standing there holding the ball. So if you don't take the first step to try and figure out what is it that I want to do in this lifetime, and if you know, jump for it. If you don't, sit down, go through the first phase. What is it that I want to do? Think about it. What is it that I want to do? Where do I want to be? whether it could be anything from a goal like work, career, love, financial, money. It could be anything. It could be even emotional. I want to be a more loving person this year. I want to be a more goal oriented person. It could be personal. It doesn't have to be something like, well, I want to have a house by the end of the year, or I want to be a superstar by, the end of the year. It could be anything, but you've got to find purpose and why you're doing it. Because then when you do it, what that does is it creates a lasting habit. Just like when you get up now and you go in the morning, you get up and it's a habit. You go work out, don't you? You go, you clear your mind, you work out, you eat, which is what I've made a habit to try to work out early in the morning, because for me, when nighttime falls, I'm sleepy by 8:30. And yeah, don't look at me like that. By 8:30, I'm really sleepy, but I wake up like at 5:45, 6 o'clock. By 6:48, I'm hitting the gym. By 9 o'clock, I've already showered, eaten, and I'm already working. So because I have a goal, because I found my purpose. So I made it a lasting habit. Now it's been kind of difficult to go sometimes early in the morning to the gym because sometimes I have other things. Like today I had to go pay rent or do other things. But the point is that I make it a habit. Why? Because I found a purpose to it. Why? Because I purposely, intentionally go for good health. And because I feel good. It helps with my energy, helps with my sleep. So I go, and I've made it a habit and a lasting habit. So it doesn't just fall off like going once a year for Easter service or dieting on New Year's. So you start, and then 5 minutes later, a week later, you're like, oh, I can't take this. I need to eat, or I need to do something. And then you fall off the wagon because you feel like, oh, it's too hard. Well, were you purposeful with it? Were you intentional? That is the key.
That was some good nuggets right there. That was some good nuggets. And I think we'll close with that. You know what I'm saying? Because, I'm about to get on Miss Sandra's live here soon, so I didn't want to hold y'all too long. You know what I'm saying? But I think y'all get the point, man. I think y'all get the point. In order to make progress in your dreams, you got to show up for them more than once. Like, if you didn't take anything else away from that, you got to show up more than one time. Like, you can't just be a one and done type deal when it comes to, chasing, when it comes to, going after your dreams. Like, you got to keep showing up every single day. And every single day, you got to make time to, work. Because if you can make time to watch your favorite show on Netflix, you get some time to be able to work on your craft. So I don't want to hear, oh, yeah, I got caught up in this. Like, no, bro. Like, I know some of y'all, man, when your favorite show come on at 8, when 911 come on at 8 o'clock on Monday, like, y'all gonna be at the TV. So don't tell me that y'all ain't have no time when you sit around watching TV. Nah, you got time. You get 24 hours in a day. So again, you gotta show up, and you gotta make it as big of a priority as it is when it comes down to watching your favorite show or your favorite football team or sports team or whatever. You got to make that a priority, as much as a priority. And if you do that, I'm telling you, you can be unstoppable, man. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, man, this your boy, Chris Simmons. Didn't want to hold y'all too long today, man. You know what I'm saying? Want to get right to the point. But like I said, man, if you really vibing with this content, man, definitely go let me know, man. Hit me up with the DMs on Instagram at Disinfecting Your Life. That's no spaces, no capitals. Let me know, man. Like, if you vibe with it, man, let me know. Like, let me know. Give me some feedback, man. Give me some feedback. If you're really vibing with these messages, let me know, man, because it makes me feel good for real. Knowing that I'm, able to put my voice out there and give y'all some helpful information. So like I said, definitely go follow me. Definitely go support my page. Follow me on Instagram at Disinfecting Your Life once again. And then also go check out my girl Sandra on Instagram at Sandy Yvette. So that's at SANDIVETTE. So again, that's SANDIVETTE. All right, definitely go check out her page as well. And, definitely connect with her and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because she's part of the family. She's part of Disinfecting Your Life family. So, we all family. So you already know what it is, man. But anyway, man, that's a wrap for today's show. This your boy, Chris Simmons, alongside my partner in crime, Sandra Cruz. We out, y'all. Take care. Peace.